Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome to the stream. Alright, so since a couple nights ago, I actually managed to get Vectrexy up and running in Linux, but not using VirtualBox. This is actually not VirtualBox, this is VMware Player. And yeah, this is, I tried and tried to get VirtualBox to be able to work with OpenGL, to get it to create the GL context, and despite my best efforts, I tried all kinds of stuff with the guest editions and all kinds of stuff, and anyways, and it just never would work. It's supposed to work apparently, but anyway, I tried VMware. Also had a lot of trouble with VMware because the latest version, I think it's VMware 14, ran extremely slowly on my machine, and then I read about other people experiencing similar issues, and it turns out that, or at least what people were saying, is that if you have older hardware like I do, the latest version doesn't work that well. So I downloaded an older version, version 12, and then everything worked perfectly. So right here I have Visual Studio Code, and if I hit F5 to launch this, just give you guys a little preview of what this looks like. So here we're stopped at main, hit F5 again, and here you go. Now I am missing the overlays just because I haven't downloaded them. I can actually, you know what? Let's get the overlays in there. Why not? While we're at it. So there's an empty overlays folder here. Let's see here. Open another one of these. I know I put them, where did I put them? Here, Vectrexy builds. I have a bunch of overlays and ROMs. So let's copy this over. Copy to here. Okay. So now, if we run, we should actually see, the overlay. There we go, from Mindstorm. Now, of course, it's not running at full speed, and that's totally to be expected. It's at, what is this, about 6 FPS, 7 FPS. Of course, we're running in a virtual environment here. But even so, it's pretty cool to see that it mostly works. It's even somewhat playable. A lot of stuff does work right now, like these are the debug options for, here, let's make this a little wider. Like if I can disable the blur, enable the blur. I can play with the max texture size. Let's see. Yeah, anyways, the usual stuff there. I think here the darken speed scale can be sped up a little bit. You can make the max texture size smaller. It makes it way more pixelated and just a tiny bit faster. Now, of course, I'm not looking to be able to play it in my virtual emulator, in my virtualized environment here. I just want to make sure that it works, and that, you know, of course, on a real Linux box, this should work just fine. So, things that are not working, there are a few, and that's because I didn't finish getting everything working. So, for example, File OpenROM doesn't do anything right now. I have to implement the Open File Dialog functionality. What else here? The debugger actually works. If I do break into debugger, there is so one of the things that doesn't work now is the automatic focus to the right window, which is something I need to look at. But see, this is the debugger here. So if we zoom this in, and you know, the usual, those are the last 100 instructions. There's the help, we can step, set trace points. One thing that doesn't work, of course, is color. So, you know. Oh, and it looks like actually pressing up does not scroll through previous, That's interesting. I guess there's something special that has to be done. Like in Windows, that's kind of like default behavior. But maybe we need to do something special for Linux to support that. And there's also, you know, part of me that's wondering whether we should even spend that much time. Maybe we should just not support the debugger. I don't know. I mean, ultimately, you know, I use the debugger for development, and Windows is my development platform. So I kind of was thinking that maybe I just want to support Windows just for myself. Support the debugger just for myself. But then I thought, you know, I should give it a shot, because some people might want to be able to actually mess around with this on Linux and ostensibly Mac OS when I get to that. So, you know, we'll give it a shot. And actually, I wanted to, now that I just realized that the up arrow thing doesn't work, let me just add here. This is actually not running inside the emulator, the virtualized environment, but I wanted to put here in the to-do. So I have a list of stuff that I want to work on starting tonight. So for Linux support, I wrote console control handler. That's the control C. Console color maybe. Delete set console title. I don't need this. Set focus. Set console focus. I want to get that working. Open file dialog. Execute shell command. And let's put here pressing up, down to cycle history in console, in debug console. I don't know what. I don't know how easy that's going to be. But, you know, we'll take a look. Okay, and let me like kind of sort this a little bit. So definitely we'll, let's see, well, how does this work again? Move this up. We'll do this after. Oh yes, execute shell command. So what that is about is, come back here. Here. Okay, so let's continue. So if you do help about, here you have a link to get to the GitHub repo, and you have a kind of a link to open the README. So neither of these work right now. And the way that works on Windows is it does basically the shell execute in Windows, and then that, you know, does whatever is the default configured application in the operating system that normally handles that kind of URL or whatever it is, right? So this is this would open whatever's the default browser, and this would open or ask you to select an application for text files, because README is or MD files in this case. So I assume there's something similar in Linux, so we're going to want to get that working. Otherwise, you know, most things seem to be working. I haven't, you know what, we could try. I don't know if I can, if my USB device will be forwarded correctly. Oh, looks like it is. Cool. So this is me basically playing with the controller. Just put that on the camera there. So you can see here, totally working. So, okay, great. So, you know, we know that SDL is doing its job, and no, I can't take much credit for that. That is SDL just being awesome. I mean, most of this is successful because of SDL. So, okay. So let's see if we can't get some of these things working. So let me open up my to-do list. So yeah, one thing I noticed is that I had this function set console title in my platform layer. I'm going to remove it because anything that I don't need in the platform layer will just make porting simpler. So set console title. So let's go to that. So we're going to go to here, platform. So set console title is just this function right here. I'm just going to remove it. We really don't need it. So we actually even had an undef in order to be able to use it. We'll just remove that because we don't care anymore. And we'll remove it here. And that's it. Make sure that builds. One thing I'm keeping my eye on is CPU usage, because right now I've got OBS and I've got VMware running here. And so far so good. I have to say VMware seems, you know, pretty good on managing CPU usage. But yeah, just in case I hit 100, my stream will definitely be affected. So So here at the bottom, you can see that I'm building. I hit Control-Shift-B, and it's actually launching a build task. These are things I set up in VS Code. So, if in case you don't know what VS Code is, it's Microsoft's cross-platform text editor that has a whole bunch of support for cool stuff like it's a code editor, and it's got support for debugging and stuff, and it's pretty good. I'm quite impressed with it. It's I can't run native Visual Studio on Linux, but definitely Visual Studio Code is a close second for me, so definitely getting the job done. Okay, so we'll go back to, so let me just get this committed. So if I hit F5, okay, looks good. So let's stage these. Control T. And we'll say remove unused platform set console panel. Oh yes, I never set up my git config. That might be a pain. That's okay. And what I mean is, I'm going to have to push these changes later, but I'll take care of that on my own. It's no big deal. So git config. All right, commit. We should be good. Yep. All right, so let's go to the next item. Just mark that as done. Okay, so this open file dialog. This is the one I have no idea how I'm going to do this just yet. So we're going to have to figure this out. Yeah, let's take a look online. That's okay, Firefox. So look at, how do we do this? Open file dialog on Linux. In case it helps, the version of Linux I'm trying to get it to work on is Ubuntu. Okay, yeah, that's right. There's no default because there's no default GUI toolkit. Desktop for GTK, standard Ubuntu, is this way here. For Qt is this way. I guess we should go for GTK. One thing I noticed is, right. Let me just take a look at this. One thing I noticed that might be helpful is I had found a cross-platform open file. It was on GitHub, I think it was. Here's one, native file dialog. I'm the author and I use it with SDL2 and OpenGL on Linux, Macs, and Windows. Okay, so I see that this one actually makes use of GTK+. So I guess that's the standard. The only thing I don't really like is, like, this is one of those where you have to figure out how to build this and how to link against it. Unless, you know, VC package makes it available. I don't know. I doubt it. Native file dialog. I don't know if search actually supports wildcard. Search for package available. So it does say pattern. Like if we did SDL, what do we get? That's not. Okay, well SDL shows a bunch of stuff. File shows a bunch of stuff. So let's see what we get in file here. You know what? Maybe it's an STB. Just had a thought. STB does a lot of stuff, doesn't it? Wouldn't be surprised if STB offered something like this. Let's take a look. You know what? I'll do it in my own environment here. Hey Lisp Gamer, yeah, that's a VM, using VM Player, what's it called? VMware Player. No, VirtualBox is great and I've been using it for years, but I could not get VirtualBox to work. I couldn't get it to, I couldn't get my OpenGL 3.3 thing to run in VirtualBox, but I can get it running in VMware, so that's why I'm using it. Last stream, actually, I was using VirtualBox. All right, nothing in here. So that's native file dialog. That's not what we're looking at. No support for file filter names? Oh, that sucks. On Linux, GTK Plus cannot be uninitialized to save memory. Launching a file dialog costs memory. I am open to accepting an alternative which uses Zenity and pipes. Interesting. Tiny file dialogs. This looks interesting. Single C file. I mean, I don't imagine ImGUI has that kind of thing, right? That would be too cool. So there's one called Knock File Dialogs. There's Native File Dialogs, which is the one we were looking at here. And then of course there's the Tiny File Dialogs, which one was it? Tiny. Here. Single file library to create native, open, and save file dialogs on multiple platforms. Oh, that sounds nice. Knock File Dialog. Okay, so it's like STB, you do the thing where you define which platform you want, and then you include this file. So that's pretty sweet. Not sure why I wouldn't just try to detect it, but anyway. Let's see what it supports. It does support filters. That's cool. A list of strings separated by /0 of the form name1, reg1, name2, reg2. The last value is followed by 2/0s. For example, to filter PNG and JPEG files, you can use PNG/0 star.png, JPEG, okay, and you can also separate patterns with semicolon. So actually, if we're going to use this, I'm going to try and make this work. Oh, it's so simple. And it also supports Mac, so maybe I should use this. This is pretty nice. What does Tiny File Dialogs do? 1C file plus header. Okay, so you have to compile this one. Kind of like the header only solution here. And the question is, do I want to do this by just grabbing this file and dumping it in my project, or do I want to actually do like the dance of grabbing this as a submodule and then including it specifically. I mean, I see that there was a fix that was made on September 5th, 2017. So obviously if I grab it as a submodule, later on I could grab newer versions. All right, let's try and do this with submodules. See how that goes. This work again. Maybe I shouldn't bother with submodule because this is like for one header file. Maybe I'll just grab it because submodules add a whole bunch of overhead and annoyances. Let's just grab it and see how it goes. So knock file dialog. Okay, so again, it's code active, and we go to Vectrexy source. What? That's weird. Anyway. Okay, so platform. So yeah, let's see how this goes. We're gonna focus on Windows right now and see if we can what happens if we replace it with this one. So we want to do an include knock file dialog. We're gonna want to define if it's Windows. We're gonna have to do this. Actually, we'll do it in here. And then for each platform, we'll do the same thing. Now, it has a slightly different way, and I might just adopt this way just to keep things simple, because what did I do in mine again? So I have title, I have filter, name, and filter types. Ugh. I don't know why I can't use my... There's my title, open Vectrex ROMs, and I say filter name. Say all files, I say Vectrex ROM. And then here I say filter types. What does knock file dialog want? PNG. Star.png. Yeah. Okay, that's fine. We'll do the same. So we'll say like vec/0 and then bin/0. You can also separate patterns with a semicolon, which is what I'm doing. Okay. Set null for no filter. The default file to use are null, and then the default file name to use are null. Filters a list of strings separated by /0, the form name, and then the last value is followed by 2/0. So I'm gonna have to do that myself. See, I was already doing some special formatting here, so and it doesn't want filter names, does it? Flags, filters. So it's a little bit simpler, really. I don't need title, and I don't need, so these things are not used at all. What does it do for title? So it puts no title. Okay, that might be okay. Let's just see how this turns out. Lisp Gamer, am I planning a Mac port? Yes, I am. Only thing is I don't have a Mac. So I need to get my hands on a Mac. I don't know if someone could, maybe at work, might be able to lend me an old Mac or something. I just want to make sure it works, you know. Then I'll use, what's it called there? Not AppVeyor, but the other big continuous integration thing that you can use for free with GitHub. Travis. I'll use Travis to do Linux and Mac builds for me, and hopefully produce binaries and stuff like that. I don't know. I've never done it before, so we'll see how it goes. So what are these flags here? Union of knock file dialog flags. Okay. Here we go. Create an open file dialog. Open a directory. Okay, so that's fine. Filters. Default path. So yeah, I might want to keep this code I have for the initial directory. What? I think default path is actually not the default, it's not the directory to start in. So maybe what we'll do is I might want to do something where like I change the current directory to the initial directory manually. Probably most file dialogs work that way. If you open and you pass a null, it'll use whatever current working directory is. And then I'll pop it back. Yeah, so let's try that. For now, I'll just do this and I'll put a little note. So you can boot OS X on VMware and VirtualBox. VMware, you need to tweak some settings in the config files and you need to get it installed this, but you can do it. So from what I've read, you're not really allowed to run Macs on non-Macs, right? unless I misunderstood, but I was under the impression that you're not supposed to run a Mac unless you have like Mac hardware, and it's like part of the license agreement. Ah, okay. Right. Okay, so it's saying I have an unresolved external symbol, despite the fact that we've included it and we've defined this guy. Maybe it's because I need to extern see it? Why would this be? No, that doesn't make any sense. It's just defined here. Oh, do I have to define this as well? If def knock file dialog implementation. So you have to define that? That's strange. Yeah, looks like you do. Okay. I guess you're supposed to put this in one CPP, and then this you can put in multiple header files. I guess that's why. Okay, so we've got a warning about str duplicate that is deprecated. And then default name, unreferenced, formal parameter. So I'm going to want to disable some. I did that in SDL. A bit annoyed that I can't use my fast find. $4996. And 4100. Why would this be skipped? Macro in skipped region. What? Alright, let's see if this works. At least it builds. Okay, well, we got an open file dialog. Okay, so hitting escape gives me a null pointer, and we want to check for that. All right. Okay, so this opens, but okay, it looks like my filtering is not correct. And if I hit escape, okay, at least we're not crashing anymore. And now it, why did it work this time? If I hit Control O, if I do file open, what? That makes like no sense. And I only have one place where I call open file dialog. Active Vectrexy. Of course, the /0 screwing me up. I have to put backslash in there, I suppose. Will that work? Probably. I think I have to do it also on the other side. I want to escape the backslash, right? Yeah, it's pretty much what I was doing over here. right. It's because I can't use %s here. So what we'll do instead is we'll say we'll just do this. Okay. It's not quite right. It's like it needs you to select between the two. I'm not sure it's doing the right thing here. It's setting it directly here for the filters. What does it do here? Skip the name. Oh, it's actually doing parsing and everything, so it expects it to be in this format, the star dot. Okay. So it's a bit limited in the way it works. And like the guy said, he doesn't test on Windows, so it looks like this is not exactly the right format for Windows either. Yeah, he's not actually the correct format for Windows. Like the correct format is what I was doing, you know, like technically speaking, knowing that Windows, he doesn't do anything, he doesn't do any kind of special munging or anything, we technically could just keep what we had earlier. But the problem is that I won't be able to use the same inputs everywhere. Ugh, what a mess. So it's not really correct in terms of cross-platform. What Windows wants is you can give it like a, before the first /0 is like a description. Then after that you put /0 and then you give the filter types followed by a /0. And that's it. Oh, okay, okay. I did not understand it. All right. I see. It's like this. Still doesn't say. Doesn't show the bin file here. Okay, so it is showing. Okay, this is working. It's just that in his implementation, he doesn't do the thing where he puts the string that you would see beforehand, because that's I guess optional, technically speaking. And I guess that's functionally all right, but it would be cool to see the title in there. But it's okay. I guess it's all right. Okay, so I know what we're gonna do. Since this is cross-platform, we're gonna include my file system header here. We're going to do this a little bit differently. We're gonna do the namespace platform. We're gonna put them all together. I realize no one even calls supports open file dialog. I think I'm gonna get rid of that then. Let me see, what was I doing again with the file system to find the current path? Okay, so this sets the current path. Or you can just call current path to get the current path. Okay. In fact, I already have a utility for this, don't I? Oh, it's alright. Let's do this. fs current path. Or is it like this? Current path. Stood file system, yeah, current path. If LP string initial directory has the same value as was passed the first time the application, right. Why doesn't this work? Okay, so if I go look in, where did I put it again? Main? Where did I write this file system util scoped? Yeah, I think we're going to change the contract. So here I have this note that says open file dialog changes the current directory. I don't think we should do that. So file system util. Okay, so I'm trying to write the code. Unexpected elif. Okay, I made a mistake somewhere. No, it's not right. Hold on. It's become a bit of a mess in here, but we'll clean this up. Like, I won't need any of this. Okay, so this should build. Okay, so we are in Vectrexy ROMs. We see bins. And if I break here, as a test, just to make sure my current working directory is correct, I have here a way to trace to file. I should have written 10 lines to trace.txt. And there we go. So basically the current working directory should always be the root here, the root that was discovered at the beginning here. So as long as I'm careful not to change that, we should be okay, which seems to be the case. What I wanted to test now was that thing I'd done last time, which I should not have broken, is if we open a ROM in a different directory, it's like if I go into here, like that, right? If I hit Control O, we're still in there. If I kill this, reopen it, hit Control O, we should still be in that directory. And we indeed are still there, which is great. And again, just to be sure, so I delete this trace file. Yeah, so that works. Okay, so this is pretty good. I mean, of course, we're not using title, we're not using filter name anymore. So I may have to change this eventually, but for now it's okay. Wait a minute. Oh, yeah, okay. I don't need to do this. What was that code I had before? I think I lost it. I just clued in on something. The filter name is the first part that we see, that vec part. And I think I can put the whole thing, and it should totally work. Because all he does is he parses up until the first /0. He doesn't really care, and then that's gonna, yeah, that's good. That should work. Actually, the same format should work now. Let's see here. Oh yes, and title is not referenced, but that's okay. Maybe one day the library will support passing in a title for the dialogue itself. Okay, so there you go, Vectrex ROM. See, okay, so we're back to what we used to have. And this should work the same way on Linux from what I've seen in the code. Okay, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually move this to the bottom of this file because I think it's going to be more easy to understand what's going on here. Like this. And I'm going to implement this on Linux as a separate change. Yeah. This is Windows, Linux, and like this. Hey cats and mechs, what kind of coding design pattern would that be? I'm not sure I understand what your question is. Which code are you referring to specifically? So last open file, internet, if that. Alright, so let's put here add knock file dialog and re-implement platform open file dialog in terms of it. And I'll just put a link in here to show where we got this dialog is from I'm going to push this and I'm going to go pull in Linux and we're going to see if we can get that working there. Probably should have used another branch, but anyway. It's alright. Okay. Alright, so we're back in the VM here. And I think I have some changes now that I'm going to want to put on a branch. Hey, Moosey boy. Yeah, I'm sorry, man. I know it's super late for you, but I don't know what I can do, right? It's actually I start streaming at 9 p.m. here on Standard Eastern time. But thanks for watching a little bit, and yeah, you know, hopefully the video tomorrow will be interesting for you. Take care, man. Did I not have some changes? I thought I made changes. Oh yeah, I did, and I committed them. So I'm gonna actually have. Yeah, I'm gonna have a little merge problem. Okay, that's fine. I never pushed. That's why. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. That's fine. What we're gonna do is, rather than make this on master, yeah, we're gonna fetch and then rebase kind of thing. Yes, let's do that. Git rebase. Never get this right. Git rebase. Is it like this? Oh, I think I got it right. Oh, that's cute. It still shows the old ref here. So that actually was clean. I'm kind of surprised. Oh yeah, I guess it was not a conflict because it was removed just in this one. Oh, no, I'm actually surprised. Surprised I didn't get a conflict for that. But I think what I want to do is, I think it's gonna be confusing to have this change coming right after. So I am gonna stick this on a branch. Get branch, what are we going to call it? Remove set console title. I'm going to reset to origin master. Alright, so we're here now. I don't know why this ref is still showing here, but is it in graph? How do I see again the try one line just to make it simpler. Not tree, show. Let's decorate as branch names. Oh, dash all, that's what I'm missing. Okay. Okay, so here we don't see what's being shown in Git GUI, or Git K actually I should say. Yeah, head is on master. Yeah, so I don't know, I guess it's, I don't know what it uses to end up showing this, because this commit here has no more ref on it. So it's a bit strange that we still see it. Ah, there we go. If I reload, it's gone. Okay. So it's more like this UI had a reference on it, I guess. Okay. Back to this. Now, if we build, we should get this error here. Say implement me for current platform. And there we go. Yeah, and then it complains about everything we see. If we are Linux, we'll use GTK, I guess. We'll include it. I don't know about warnings, we'll see. Cannot open source file GTK. Right. So I don't know anything about how to do Linux right. I don't know how you're supposed to get GTK to be a dependency. Let's find out. It's just a find GTK2. So it looks like it's part of CMake. Okay, so let's start with that. Well, I mean, I don't really want to write my own custom file selector. Yeah, I'm still working on that. I mean, file selection is not easy, right? You know what I mean? The whole file dialog thing is a pain in the ass to write yourself. One of the things I was looking at earlier is someone tried to do it with SDL, with ImGUI. And you know, these things are always custom and weird and uncomfortable, you know? Every time I open an app that has its own custom file dialog, it doesn't work. The shortcuts don't work. I can't paste paths, or, you know what I mean? So I prefer using the native operating system one. Really what's required, what I think should be happening, is SDL should offer one. You know, they offer so many cross-platform utilities for games and for windowing and OpenGL and getting all that stuff set up. It would be really great if SDL just had a file open dialog, you know? But yeah, I'm not gonna write my own custom one. It's actually a lot of work, I think, to do that. I guess it's GTK2, and I won't say required. I just want to see what happens if we do this. So it says some or all of the GTK libraries were not found. Yeah, I know that a lot of emulators have a known folder with ROMs, but again, you know, sometimes the ROMs are. Anyway, I don't want to. I prefer having what I have now, where you can go into your own custom directory with your ROMs and you can organize them as you wish, you know. I mean, I get your point, right? It's definitely an option, writing a custom thing myself, and I'm sure I could do it, you know, if I keep it simple. But you know, personally, I'm really a fan of the native OS open file system, open file dialog thing. It's just comfortable, right? Most applications do it, and so when you do something custom, it always feels a bit weird, in my opinion. Although, to be fair, I guess you could argue that my menuing system in my emulator is custom because it's through ImGUI. But I think that's like, anyway, I guess it's a little bit less weird for me. I don't know. I'll keep your idea in mind. Maybe if this doesn't work out, or if this is a pain in the ass, I'll look at doing something custom. Okay, so I'm getting this missing GTK2. Is that what I'm supposed to be doing? Is it GTK2? Is it GTK? Looks like I found GTK, so that's kind of a good sign, I guess. So GTK GL, GTK found. Okay. it's like I'm gonna make this optional, but it's kind of required for Linux. My idea is that this has to be found, but I don't know if I would have to check, you know, if we're building on a specific platform. I guess that's what I can do. Yeah, I can do an if, just like I'm doing MSVC here. There must be a variable for when we're on Linux or on Ubuntu or on GTK. I don't know. Maybe GNU variable. Okay, let me see. Maybe from here we can find the list of variables. If Unix, okay. I don't know if Unix and not Apple, okay. Let's try that. That did not work. Oh yeah, that's right. I can't copy paste. I haven't figured out how to share my clipboard between Windows and VMware. Totally works. Totally works when I'm using VirtualBox, but anyway. So Lisp Gamer, you're asking me, I guess you don't have a vector font, although doesn't the BIOS have one? Do you have tools installed and running? And I think it's an option. I'm not following you. Do I have tools installed? Oh, you mean, oh, you're talking about for VMware? Yeah, I do. There must be a way, but I haven't found the option. It's really obvious in VirtualBox, but I haven't figured it out in here. I looked everywhere and they don't really have an option for pasting back and forth, which seems really weird, right? Because like, I mean, I guess I could just Google it, but whatever. If I really need it, I'll take a look. All right, so this is where I need to I'm thinking about, like, maybe I want to do this a little differently. Let me see here. I'm getting the feeling that I can't do target link libraries with FineGTK. Let's see. It's one of those old ones. Yeah, I think it's the usual. All right. I keep getting mixed up. Which is my current window? Here we go. This will be GTK libraries, and I'm gonna say extra includes, I guess. Or include dirs or whatever. Include directories. Okay, whatever. To whatever it was before. And it'll be GTK include dir. Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of this, but I'll figure out a cleaner way to do this at some point. Because I'm not sure what you're supposed to do. Because unfortunately you have to only have, from what I understand, you can only have one target link libraries and one include directories. So you need to bring them all together. So another way would be to kind of build up these variables, and for each package we find, we can add to it and then just include it once at the bottom. Sort of what I'm doing here with the extra. And I added the extra libraries because I needed it for right now to be able to build on with GCC 8. With file system, I have to actually specify to link against std C++fs here. So that's why I added this extra libs. So I'm just going to add the same thing for extra include directories for now and kind of hijack it for this purpose. But it's not super clean. Then again, we're dealing with... okay, so that actually did something. Let's see if this actually builds. We're dealing with CMake, I was going to say. GTK, no such file or directory. So, interesting. I'm tempted to copy it and have my own, but This is what's missing right now, is handle required argument and define star found variable. Hey Pyro, how's it going, man? Long time no see. At least live on stream. It's going well. How are you doing? I'm working in the uncomfortable Linux environment for myself here. Oh, that's alright. No worries, man. Glad you can make it. Okay, so let me see if I can make some sense of this. How do you like print again in CMake? Okay, I'm gonna stop getting out of here. Oh, that's alright. Alright, Lisp Gamer. Have a good night, man. Pyro, I don't expect people to watch every one of my streams, you know. I mean, I'm glad if you do, but you know, it's a lot of me doing this and searching and looking, especially tonight. Message. Message status. Let's see if we get something out of this. Okay, so there's test. Maybe required is not being handled here. I think that's what's happening. It's not actually finding GTK and I need to check. That might be the case. We are getting inside here. Let's do this. If, what was it again? It's GTK found. I don't know how this works. Okay, so GTK is not being found. So does that mean I'm supposed to install it? I guess I have to install like GTK dev or something. Okay, I know what we'll do. Let's go back in here. I'll start like this. gtk.h, gtk init check. Let's look up file chooser dialog and see if I can work backwards from there. GTK plus. There's two. Since 2.4. So I guess I need GTK2, not GTK. I guess that makes sense. So it's actually GTK2. Quick Google search shows libgtk 2.0 dev. So libgtk. Oh yeah, there we go. But I guess I need to get version 2 like you said, which actually means I gotta change what I'm using to search to the second one. So let's go back here and let's change it right away. It should fail to find it, and then we'll install it. So instead of that, we'll say GTK2 required. I think GTK2 is one that if it's not found, it will tell us. So apparently I'm supposed to do find package GTK2. Apparently you can actually put versions. Like 2.10 or something. What did we see was the version we would need? At least 2.4? This says GTK3 reference manual. Let me go back here. I saw a 2 version here. Since 2.4, okay. And then you're supposed to write which thing you need, because there's like a bunch of stuff. You can put GTK Glade, GTK MM. So if I specify one of them, I think that's the only thing it needs to look for. Then I can say if GTK2 found. But if it's not found, I think it's going to fail. So let's just see what happens right now. Okay, CMake error at find GTK2, could not find GTK2 include directory. So that's what I expect. This is like a more modern GTK thing. GTK CMake find thing. Okay, so let's install it then. What was it again? We were looking at libgtk2. So I guess, yeah, it's this one here. And I'm going to add this to my instructions as well, if this is indeed the right thing. Yeah, not a small library to download, apparently. I am not going to replace STL by GTK. I am looking at this as just for getting a like OS specific file open dialog. So maybe it's a heavy-handed solution just for a file open dialog, but you know, we'll see how this goes. Otherwise, like Lisp Gamer was suggesting earlier, I could write my own custom file open thing just for searching ROMs and stuff, but yeah, prefer not to do that kind of thing, you know? But maybe it is the right solution, because I guess not everyone's using GTK. I really don't know the landscape, you know, for Linux. Is it like wrong to assume that most people use GTK for if they're gonna run Linux? Wasn't I just updating this? Where was I? Oh, I was updating it here, okay. Pyro, are you like generally a Linux user? Are you like well versed in the ways of Linux? Maybe. Okay, so now I did find GTK. So now that it's found it, not really use it for embedded stuff. Most programs are cross-platform. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing here, so bear with me. You know, I know the Windows ecosystem super well, and the only Linux I really use is Ubuntu, so I don't know. GTK2 includers, it says. And GTK2 libraries. Wow. Look at that list of include directories and libraries. So many libraries. Okay. So now, ostensibly, I was going to say ostensibly gtk.h should be found in one of those include directories, so let's see if that happens. You know, I'm not super comfortable, like I said. Like it's not like I never used Linux, but I definitely have a lot less experience. But I find, like, you know, trying to port Vectrexy to Linux this way or to Ubuntu, it's forcing me, you know, to learn more about it, and that's kind of good, you know. It's part of my goals, is just to keep expanding my knowledge in different areas and different operating systems. So, you know, I want to be comfortable enough in Linux to be able to do stuff like this. Hey, look at that. It actually built. So let's see if it actually works. Okay. Seems to be taking a really long time to open this dialog. Am I like blocked somewhere? Something must have gone wrong. Oh, here we go. File system error, cannot set current path, no such file or directory. Huh, interesting. What's this about? What's up, Blue Dragon? Vectrexy. That's a pretty good name. Okay, so what it did not like was this code I had added here. My scope to set current directory. This is what pissed it off. Too bad I didn't get a nice exception caught in here. It's because I don't have a try catcher on this guy. Oh, you know what I can do? I can possibly set the debugger to stop as soon as an exception is thrown. Oh, thanks for dropping in, Blue Dragon. Let's see. Call stack, breakpoints. Oh, sometimes there's like an option here. Maybe there's a option to pass to GDB for that. To tell it to stop as soon as an exception is thrown. So let's see. break on exception, I guess I should write. Catch points. Interesting. You can do right before an exception is thrown. Catch throw. Catch throw. Try that. Oh, I guess I'm not. This is just some output or something? I thought I could actually do stuff here. Oh, exec, okay. Exec, catch, throw. Okay. Alright, so if we continue. Okay, I'm just gonna make this a bit smaller. Alright. File, open. Pause on exception. Sweet. Perfect. Okay, so this is exactly what where I suspected the problem was. So it doesn't like, what is the problem here? Last directory. So what is this? Slash home daru code Vectrexy. That's the current. If not new path, but if it's not empty. But okay, so the debugger doesn't want to show me the value here. Let me see on the call stack. Initial directory. So maybe the problem is here. Let's see what happens if we restart. Alright, so initial directory, what do we have here? Slash home daru code Vectrexy. So if it has a value and it exists, that's the one we want, right? Was initial directory passed in here? It's an optional. Okay, if it has a value. Okay, so it doesn't have one or does? What's going on here? Last open file. Why am I not able to see the value of this? It's an empty string. Sucks that I can't actually see the value for some reason here. So what I think is happening is we in our options file, we actually have, let's see, let's look at our options file. Yeah, so last open file is empty, so it's going to be an empty string, and that's okay. So this path should be empty. So then if last open is empty, we should be passing in the name ROMs. So maybe it's because if it's an invalid path, current path will fail, and maybe on Linux passing an empty path is just a big no-no. Okay, so let's do this. Let's put a little print here because I'm not getting information from the debugger. See, it's bothering me that we actually go in here because the initial directory should have been an empty string, and I think that's part of the problem here. I think this is supposed to be empty string, and we don't want it to consider that as a value, and that's probably what's going on here. And I think that's what we're going to see here when we say errorf new path. What just happened? Unable to open, so we just got an exception as well here. Oh, I need to actually build. Oh, did I build before? Oh, maybe that was the problem. I'm so used to build and run in Visual Studio that I'll hit F5 to build and run. Okay, so we were not actually. Okay. We were not actually failing on this line. We were failing on the previous line. But okay, so we just need to go include. I guess technically I don't need it here. Let's just remove this. Oh, again. See, I keep hitting F5. I should make F5 build and run. Probably is a way to do that. Okay, it's building. F5. So we got ROMs. So that means that up here, we did not have a last open file, so then ROMs got passed in. Am I supposed to pass like ./ROMs? Is that what it is? But then why doesn't it show it here? I mean, oh, is it because I'm converting it to string somehow and then? That shouldn't be an issue, right? Okay, but technically I don't need to do this. Is there some weird thing where like assigning a string to a path doesn't actually allocate in the path? And I was assigning it a temporary? Could it be something crazy like that? Oh, it still looks the same here. It says ROMs. No, still raising an exception here. And maybe new path, maybe it's the remove file name that doesn't work here. I need to put, maybe I need to put a /. Yeah, maybe. I'm assuming there might be a file name here, but what if there isn't? How does it know? It won't know. Interesting. How's that working on Windows? I'm gonna double check on Windows. There you go. It's the remove file name that's failing here. Oh no, it's not. I forgot to build again. Tasks. I wonder if there's a way to tell it to run a task when you want to debug. I don't know. Okay, looks like it's not super straightforward. I'll look at it another time. What's going on here? think again before when I tested removing the thing, I had not built, so this actually may fix it. I'm still wondering if the path is a non-ownership object, and if you give it a const char star, that it doesn't actually allocate, which is very possible, although I don't know, it seems a bit strange. Let's see. No, it still doesn't show anything there. Okay. New path. Oh, so this time it passed that. And it's still saying ROMs. But actually I don't know if that was from the other location. Okay, I'm pretty sure let me do here. I'm gonna say scoped build. But my gut's telling me it's the fact that ROMs needs to have a slash at the end so that we know it's a directory. Now why that would work on Windows, I don't know. Yeah, see, it ended up removing ROMs when it did the remove file name, and I'm guessing setting current path to an empty string does not make Linux happy. You probably need to do something like at least have a slash or a dot or something like that. So let's see if we could fix it by going into main and doing this. And actually, again, I hit F5, but I did not mean to. Build. Tired. Oops. Okay, there we go. So now it says ROM slash, and I'm gonna assume this here would, this one passed. Okay. And there we go, open file, holy crap. So it's not actually opening up in ROMs, which is okay. That's unfortunate. I guess it doesn't work the same way. Okay, but before I continue with this, I really need to know what is going on and why does it work in Visual Studio right now on Windows. So let me come back here and we'll open the options file and empty it out, or at least empty out that line. I'm going to put a breakpoint here. All right, so last open file is empty, so we should get ROMs. Filter, initial directory, ROMs, yes. So it's gonna be ROMs, and then this scoped guy here. I guess in the end what's happening here is that the scoped just doesn't do the right thing. Yeah, see it's getting a no path here. wait, it is actually throwing? It's actually throwing? Okay, it's because I didn't test this path. Okay, so fail is also on Windows. All right, that's kind of good because I was worried that, you know, that it was behaving. There we go. So we got an unhandled exception here. So I could have totally caught this on Windows, but I just didn't think to test with the path being empty because I had something there. Fair enough, fair enough. All right, and I'm guessing putting rom slash is going to fix it here as well. Yeah, it's because we changed the code, it's true. Prior to this, I was not doing the same kind of thing. I was using a get current directory from Windows. Now we're using the path library. So it's all a little different here. Okay, so that works. Obviously, it did not open in the ROMs directory. Oh yeah, I think I remember why. I think we had looked at this, right? If we don't pass it a directory to start with, it'll use whatever was it last opened. Even changing the current working directory makes no difference. Yeah, see here, initial directory, if it's set to null, it's going to look to see what was the last one we opened. So maybe we'll want to modify this this at some point to make it work that way. Default path. Default path. Set file name. So it does have this concept of default path, which is for setting a file name. But it says default path, default name. Maybe I misunderstand. The default file to use, the default file name to use. What? What if we did pass it in here? Mm-hmm. I need to close that options file. Knock file dialog open. Can I put breakpoints in here? Oh, has this been completely inlined? Yes, it has. Yeah, look at that. Switch to debug. It's interesting to see what window chooses what the MSVC compiler chose to inline. It inlined all of this here. I guess not that much code. Zero is setting some values in a struct and calling a function. Makes sense. Not sure why it's not finding this header file, but okay. Source search information. Locating source for checksum. The file does not exist. Checksum matches. The debugger found source in the following locations. The debugger will use the source at location 1. Okay. You need to. What the hell is going on? Hey, thanks for the follow, KKK. I'm trying to figure out why this header file is not being picked up. By my CMake lists. Oh, okay. It's true, I forgot I had to add it this way. Maybe this is why the debugger for some reason isn't seeing it. Doesn't make that much sense, but oh, there we go. Alright, so what's happening here? We've got a default path that we are not using at all. Okay, so what happens if we were... I mean, what does it mean, default path, then, in this context? For OS X, it looks like it says if we have a default path, set the default URL to that. Set directory URL. I mean, it looks like it was just something that was missing. For GTK, it says set the file name to that, which maybe doesn't work in terms of directory though. But why would it be completely ignored for Windows? You would have thought he would put it here. Max file, where is it? Initial directory. Okay, let's look up what these functions mean. It looks like that's what these two variables have to do with GTK and whatever these functions are supposed to be doing. Alright, sets file name as the current file name for the file chooser by changing to the file's parent folder and actually selecting the file in list. If the chooser is in action save mode, the file's base name will also appear in the dialog's file name entry. If the file name isn't in the current folder of chooser, then the current folder of chooser will be changed to the folder containing the file names. So that's kind of nice. This is equivalent to a sequence of GTK file chooser unselect all followed by select file name. Note that the file must exist or nothing will be done. Oh, except for directory change. So what if it's just a directory? It also has chooser set current folder and then set current name. So I mean, I'm getting from this that it could be used for setting the, like, it might actually make sense for Windows to make it do what we were saying. And then let me see what does it do here for OS X. File URL with path. Default URL is ns URL and an ns string with UTF-8 string default path. And then it says set directory URL. And then set name field string value to the default URL's last path component. So yeah, I mean, I think this is supposed to have said the default path to use, not file. So maybe we'll open a pull request and try to get this changed. But my feeling is that here on Windows, it should be passed in here. Initial directory. It's not support Objective C. Yeah, actually I don't want, when I think about it, I don't really want client format to touch this file. Okay. Yes, that's exactly what I'm gonna do, Pyro. It's because this is a, you know, it's a header only library that I found today, and it looks pretty good, and it takes care of the 3 platforms that I want to target. But it looks like for Windows, like because this developer doesn't use Windows. No, it is the way I said it. So this Windows structure wants you to give it a pointer to an optional default path or an initial path to start from. I think I can just do just that. Oh no, so it's still affecting my headers? Why is that? So I should not actually try to run Clang format in this file. Yeah, so that's it. This here is an optional pointer you can set. And of course, default name won't be used, but default name probably should be used for when you do a save file name, right? Which I think is maybe, no, that's the title of the dialog. I wonder if there's missing something here for the name itself. Or maybe what you're supposed to do is copy the name into the buffer here. It's probably what you're supposed to do. Okay, so let me just see if this works. Yeah, it looks like it's not actually doing it. Trying to see if I did anything special. But it looks like I did pretty much the same thing. I just passed it a default path here. If LPT string file contains a path, that path is the initial directory.
Is this where I come
in? No, I have it here. Okay, no, sorry. Sorry, it's not this one here. If dir has the same value as we passed the first time application used. If this contains a path, that path is the initial directory. Otherwise, this is the most confusing contract. I read this last time and I still find myself going, what? If this has the same value as was passed the first time the application used an open or save as dialog.
Hey guys, it's me, it's your old pal, it's me, my twin brother's on the way, then we'll start the party. Oops, I forgot to fit in my shot, guess I'm stuck here now.
Mes cuerpos y el forayam, la belle enchantée, my design just fits so well. Sleek physique, darling, it's très chic. I clear to rose, was that not what you see? Lots of pieces, we're in trouble. Height increases, clear us all out.
It is I, you are wonder why there is so many lines make me want to cry.
Oui, oui.
Don't know.
What is goal? I fall into hole.
Alright, you know what? I don't care. I'm gonna figure this out another time. But at least here we've got something that sort of works. Now let's see if we can actually pick a file. And I'm going to stop soon because it's already midnight.
Total crap.
That's it, I quit.
Me too. Ouais, vive la résistance.
Oh, back to Soviet.
But I'd like to end on a good note, so
Tetris too hard.
let's just see if this really works. Let's go and actually open ROMs and select one. I'll disable my breakpoints. Cancel. It's weird how it like opens behind. Strange. Yeah, so not sure what the deal is here, but I want it to be inside this folder. Okay, so that looks like it works. Now, you see again, I'm in the wrong place when I do open. So this is really the kind of user experience thing that I gotta fix. Definitely not, you know, opening in the back without focus, opening in the wrong directory. Super odd. But, you know, it works, sorta. Actually, you know what? Let's see what happens if we do pass the initial directory on this guy. Maybe it's not working on Windows, but maybe it actually does work properly on with GTK here on Linux. Forgot to build again. Oh, this time it actually highlighted ROMs. And for some reason, is this like oh, this, you know what this might be? This might be the debugger getting in the way, because it's doing this thing here about showing me Windows. Let me try something. Let's try and launch it without the debugger. Control F5 is it? No, I think it's still doing the same thing as before. Yeah. Let's try and go directly to here, Vectrexy. Okay, that looks more. Nope. Like the first time it seems to do the right thing. Maybe that's a GTK thing, I don't know. Mindstorm 2. Of course I choose like a game that it's like left, right. Why? It's so strange. Like, what kind of behavior is that? If I open it the first time, it opens in the foreground. Failed to load module, Canberra GTK module. That doesn't sound reassuring. If I cancel, hit Control O again, it opens on the side. So odd. You know? I'm starting to think maybe it's not such a crazy idea to like try and do something myself using SDL. I don't know. See, like when I do open file in VS Code, it opens up this dialog here straight in the center. It does the right thing. There's something going on why would my application behave this way? Like, why would it open it off on the side? Everything else looks right. It's got the right path. It says ROMs here. It opens in the side and it opens it in the background, and it gives me this open file is ready. Maybe it's the way it's being called here. Maybe there's something odd about it. I don't see how that can be. This looks pretty normal. This is a blocking call. The only thing I can think is because it's built in debug. Maybe there's like some special, like that dialogue that appears at the top is strange, you know, to me. Yeah, maybe it's related to that. Let me see here. Apparently, if I do cmake -d cmake build type equals release. Oh, and then like that. And then if we come back, so now I'm gonna have no debug symbol, so if I try to debug it, it won't actually work very well, but just curious to see how it runs when it's all in release. I don't see how this makes any difference, but just to rule it out. Maybe Ubuntu like sees that there are debug symbols, like there's a elf or dwarf or whatever it's called in the executable. So you have to build everything. Actually, I shouldn't launch it from here. Holy moly. 130 FPS? Wow. That's amazing. I didn't even realize it would run this fast in a virtual machine. Okay, so that's Control O. Yeah, and the second time around, we still get this thing here. Open file is ready. It's almost like it's got something to do with the way we call it the second time. And Oh, it's so cool how fast it goes, isn't it? I'm still astounded that I can actually play this at this speed. Oh. Oh, inputs are... Okay. Wow, pretty impressive. Okay, so I'm gonna stop here and think a little bit about this. A little bit disappointed. I think this library that I got, maybe it's not as well tested on all the platforms. Maybe it's not, you know, maybe the interface isn't quite right, or maybe it just needs a little love, a little messing around and trying to get things to work. I gotta read a bit more and stuff, so it's all right. Still got something working on Linux, which is pretty cool. So guys, thanks for watching, and I should be back next week, probably again on Tuesday, Thursday, but I'll let you guys know. So take care and see you next time.